cannot change for other people and to please other people. You really have to decide for yourself that you want the change. Everybody wants change, okay? Everybody wants change. But how many people actually take the steps to make the changes? You have to need to want the change and act on it, or else it's never gonna happen, okay? And I was just exhausted of doing the same thing, repeating the same cycles over and over again. Only person and the only thing stopping you from doing whatever that you want is you. Alright. Welcome back to another episode of Life, Sober, and Shit. Alright, you guys, welcome back. If you haven't been here already, my name is Michael, and this is where I talk about just life in general, not even sobriety, but it all began with my sobriety, okay? And today is kind of a very special episode because when this comes out, it will be my 1 year sobriety, you guys, okay? It is the craziest thing, and I didn't even realize like how far I've come. Like, I didn't realize. So I went out for a run the other day, and I'm kind of challenging myself right now. By the end of summer, I really want to do a 10K, like complete a 10K run. And that's just one of my goals that I've given myself. And I ran 8, and I really truly believe that I can do it. And I remember coming home and I thought to myself, and I started journaling, and I didn't realize that it was my 1 year, and that it made me think about what has come like to fruition and what has come about within that 1 year when I decided to be sober. And I feel that we do forget because we are so busy doing the damn thing, okay? And really focused on what is next and how to sustain this sober journey, this sober life, this new awakening, this new being of who you are and who you want to become and becoming. And it's so wild. And I look back about the things that I've changed in my life, and there has been so many, and I am so grateful for the challenges I've had to overcome. And on this episode, I really want to talk about some of those things that I've accomplished and kind of my realization and like my insight on where I am today. So obviously the first thing was to get sober, okay? And that was not an easy feat. That was a really hard decision because I've tried to be sober many times. And I knew in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to be sober, but I didn't know how. I didn't know why I couldn't get sober. But honestly, I was so exhausted, you guys. And I feel that you have to be exhausted with yourself. You have to be tired of doing the same thing for yourself and having this life of just the repeated cycle. For me, I was so tired of being tired. Oh my God, I'm gonna start crying. That I really wanted to change for myself. Like, you cannot change for other people and to please other people. You really have to decide for yourself that you want the change. Everybody wants change, okay? Everybody wants change. But how many people actually take the steps to make the changes? Right? Everybody wants change. I want change. I still want change, right? But in particular, being sober and the alcoholism part, I really wanted change in that because I was so tired of being tired and I was just exhausted. And I knew in my heart and in my soul that alcohol was the determining factor of my anxiety, my depression, my sadness, my loneliness, and it was a correlation of so many things. And it all started with my alcohol, like the drinking. And I knew that I had to change that. And I really wanted to change that. And I've talked about it in the past before. You want to, you have to need to want the change and act on it, or else it's never gonna happen. Okay. And so I decided 1 year ago that I wanted to change my life and I wanted something more and I wanted something better because I always saw myself as something more and something better. And I was looking around and I was looking and inspecting my life in detail. And there were so many things I didn't like about it that I was like, what do I do? You know, and the answers are really there. And one of the biggest thing was for me to get sober. And once that happened, once I chose me, girl, everything changed, okay? Everything changed. Yeah, the first 3 months or so was probably the most difficult because you are going through withdrawals and, you know, and like just loneliness and so much time on your hands, like boredom and all these things. Like there were so many emotions that I couldn't even really figure out life itself. I was so lost within myself, you guys, okay? But then the self discovery came along and I really wanted to find out who I was and who I wanted to become. You know, it's crazy because throughout the years that I was drinking, I would always see people like healthy living people and I was like, you know, running and being active and just like you could just tell they're happy, healthy living individuals and I was like, that is going to be me. That is who I am. That is me. I used to always think that. I'm like, that's the life that I want, you know, very outdoorsy, very, you know, active, you know, just very a healthy living individual. And you guys, like I am becoming that. I am that, you know, I've become the person that I always thought I was, but I wasn't able to do it until I got sober, you know? And that's where the self-discovery really comes from. And it's not an easy thing to be, but it is there and it is possible because I willed myself to being and becoming that person that I saw I was always meant to be, you know? And so I made a lot of changes in my life, you know, having and creating habits, new habits, healthier habits like exercising, staying active, even as far as eliminating relationships, unhealthy relationships. I had to cut out because it really, when I got sober, there was a weird phase where it's like I really magnified, like it was everything around me was more magnified, like it was more intensified and I was more aware and really just, I don't know, like conscious of like what was going on around me and the people around me and why I was questioning a lot of things about why I had these people in my life. And you know, you will go through that. And I went through that. And I really had to make decisions for myself, for my betterment. And a lot of that was eliminating so many people, like toxic people, that I chose not to see that was toxic because I was holding on to them because I felt like they were my only source and my only way of like connecting with people. But really I was missing out, you guys. I was missing out on myself because the real challenge and the real thing is to connect with yourself. And that's what I was missing. And with that magnified, you know, the toxicity that I was seeing in people, the people that are around me that I thought, you know, I still love, of course, I do love, because these people I've created as like a family that I've created, like my chosen family. But I really had to decide for myself and for my being and creating boundaries. And I wasn't gonna accept certain things and certain habits and certain characteristics in my life anymore. And I wasn't gonna, you know, make excuses for other people's shitty behavior and accepting that to be part of my life. And being sober helped me really see that. And it's not an easy place because it's kind of a lonely place, but you really start to learn and discover who you are in the midst of everything, in the midst of this chaos. You really start to create this relationship like with yourself. And I know that sounds so crazy and psychopathic, but like loving yourself and choosing yourself and having a relationship with yourself is so powerful, you guys. And it's crazy what comes from that is knowing yourself and, like really listening to yourself and what you need. And I feel like we're more than what we see ourselves. Like the reality, the illusions that we see, we're more than that. As long as we really connect with ourselves. Like connecting with oneself is not an easy thing because of the distractions and the conditioning that we grew up with, you know? But anyway, so eliminating a lot of people in my life and creating these boundaries for me and my well being and my mental health was a huge, huge deal. And then that gave me more time to focus on me and what I needed and what I wanted and what I wanted to become and how I saw myself, right? And so I created new habits like working out, just being more organized, and really just having more like standard, I guess. Like I'm having like high, not high expectations, but higher standards for myself and what I accept in my life. My professional life I had to always look at too, because the people I surrounded myself with were so negative. I'm like, why would I want to be surrounded by negative people? Like it's just not me. And I've made a lot of changes with that as well, because never settle for less and anything less than what you think you deserve, because honestly we are worth so much more than what we know of it, and I feel like there's so much more out there for us. Once we value ourselves, you'll be able to see your real worth, and that was one of my biggest changes. And it's honestly really, really scary because, in the beginning you do start being, in the beginning it's really lonely, but you start learning to really like love yourself as long as you're really willing to change things and willing to see what you want to see and choosing like you at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that is really what it's about. And, and just making those changes. And it's not easy to make changes. Like in the year, I also quit, smoking, which is a really big deal for me. And that was one of the habits that I was like, I want, because I like, again, going back, I always saw myself as a healthy, living, active individual. And that is what I'm becoming. The smoking and the vaping and all that, like that was not part of my journey. That is not part of my story. That is not what I wanted in my life. And if you want to make changes, my advice is to really just take it day by day, and just getting through the day is the accomplishment in itself. And with the smoking, it was really, really hard because it's a really hard addiction to overcome. And obviously the alcohol was too, but I was making all these changes in my life, and smoking was one of them that I was like, I gotta go. It gotta go. It's gotta go, because I wanted to live a healthier life. I wanted to live longer. I wanted to be a healthier overall person. And I'm still struggling with that, and I'm still becoming these things that I am, and these things I am becoming, but it's gonna take time. And while I was journaling, I actually started crying. Oh my god, I'm gonna start crying now, because I started writing the gratitude that I had for myself and where I've come from, and I started really looking back at where I was. And even like, okay, so like even like a year ago, like my Snapchat, I don't know if you guys are listening to this, like Snapchat is still a thing in my life. I still use Snapchat like daily. I use it actually more than Instagram, because I just like it because it's actually like present, right? Like it's present, no edited, like it's just video right now, right there, right now, right there, and then. And so it sends you and reminds you memories from like 5, 4, 3 years ago, last year, on the same day. And yesterday I was looking and these memories came from 4 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, the same day. And oh my god, you guys, like, it's so scary. Like, I was so scary. There was there was like videos there where I was drunk. Like, I was drunk in each video for for the 4 or 5 years ago, same day. I was drunk in each memory, okay? And there was even a time where I was like doing drugs in the bathroom. Like, what is going on, you know? And you could really see in my face I was not healthy. I was so lost, and I was so disturbed as a human being. I was surrounding myself with, toxic people, toxic individuals, toxic environments, and I was so cringed. I was so cringed. I could barely watch myself, like talking in front of a camera, like thinking that I'm cool or something, or like it had some value in it. But girl, like, I was looking at myself and I was like, wow, like, that is so sad. And it got me to think, like, I look around me and I think to myself, I'm not where I want to be. Hell no. And taking it day by day, you actually forget how long it's been, and that's what really made me so emotional, that I cannot, you guys, believe that it's been, 1 year that I've decided to stop drinking alcohol. And it's a big deal, and it's not where I want to be. But if I look back on all the little changes that I've made, I'm becoming more and more the person that I see, And yeah, I'm not where I want to be financially, physically, like all these materialistic things. I'm not. But the person that I am from, like, within, of the things that I'm healing and continuously healing, I am not the same person that I was last year. I am not the same person that I was last month, let alone a year ago. And it's so crazy to think the direction, because we do lose kind of sight of where we're going and who we are because of the things that are distracting us from our day to day. Like, are just living our lives day to day, because that's what you have to do, is take your life day to day. But we don't realize the outcome, or the journey that has transpired thus far. That's the thing that kind of got me, and got me really emotional. And the changes that I've made in my life, yeah, exactly what I said. Or not, I'm not where I want to be physically, but it's the person that I have become, that I'm becoming, continuously becoming. That is what I'm proud of. That is who I'm becoming. Like, it makes me more excited to see the future. Not to see the future, because we can't see the future, but I'm excited and optimistic. I'm more optimistic about the future, because if I continuously do the things and actually be aware of what I'm doing and the person that I'm becoming, you don't know when that's what, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I don't know what I'm going to be next year. Like, I have no idea. As long as I continuously, persistently continue to be this good, becoming this healthy individual that I see myself, and successful person that I am, you don't know in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now where you will be, right? And that's a really hard thing to do, and to kind of think about where you're gonna be. And it's always hard to see where you're gonna be, because you don't know. Because I always say nothing is permanent, okay? Nothing is permanent. So it's how you navigate and how you move through the years and through the days will affect your tomorrow. You know what I mean? And so making the decisions for yourself. And also, one thing too, one thing that I've really learned is not to put so much pressure on yourself. I know I've already said that, but I'm talking in regards to, like, your daily things, and putting pressure on yourself to be like, oh my god, I need to get this done. I need to get this done right now and right away. Blah, blah, blah. Like, for example, my content, like, I stopped giving a shit about, like, pressuring myself to have, like, this schedule of my content. I mean, yes, it's really, really beneficial for a schedule, a continuous schedule, and also just like a persistent one, right? And the thing is, it has put so much pressure on me that it's caused me stress. The minute that I let go of that and been like, you know what? I'm gonna go and do it my way, and I'm gonna hit on my inspiration, and when I'm inspired, that's what I'm gonna create. And it's given me more like freedom, and it's given me more kind of strength and kind of motivation, and being more optimistic about this content creation. It's kind of loosened me up a bit, instead of pressuring myself to have like, okay, I need to be getting it out on Monday or Tuesday or whatever, that I set myself for, and then I don't do it. I'm just disappointing myself, right? So really just creating those boundaries for yourself, and not creating so much pressure for you to do and complete something, and just going in your pace, honey, because it's not about how fast you get to your destination or where you see yourself being. It's really about the direction towards the destination, right? It's how you move through your days, and what you're doing through the days. Every little thing that you do each day compounds to a bigger thing, right? So this is what I mean. I mean, yeah, like, I'm not where I am a year from now, but oh my god. Oh my god. Like, I am not the same person that I was last year. You know what I mean? Like, the person last year is not even existent, And I look back at myself, I'm like, oh my god, I keep getting emotional and like getting shivers, because it is so crazy the things that have changed in my life. And also too, thinking to myself, I always think this to myself too. It's like, how old I am. So I'm 33 years old, right? And people are shocked because of the way that I look. But the thing is, it's not about the way that I look and how old I am. I believe that age is just a number. And I think it's really about energy and mindset, because I've talked about this in the past. Like, I have met 50-year-olds that their mindsets and their energies are literally not there. They're just not there. They can't figure out life for themselves. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter how old you are. But there's so many times where I've thought to myself, like, oh my god, I'm 33, and I'm not where I want to be. And because I compare myself to other 33-year-olds, because a lot of the 33-year-olds or 30-year-olds that I've met or that I grew up with in junior high have houses, have kids, I'm married, and all these things. And then I rethink to myself, they are not me, and I am not them. You are not these other people. You are your own person, and you creating that person is completely different from other people's journeys and other people's paths. Like, you are your own person, and you are creating your own life. And essentially, like, you're an architect of your like life and your being and your well-being and your health, if you choose that, if you choose you. And what I decided to do that, it's really given me so much more strength to becoming even a better person, more and more each day. And and I think that not putting so much pressure on yourself again. And it's like, as long as your intentions are there and the direction is clear where you want to go, it's just really up to you. And it's crazy, because I find myself sometimes, you guys, like, okay, so we are our own worst enemies, pretty much. Like, I've learned that so wholeheartedly. Even for me, like, I'll listen to myself. I think, okay, how am I gonna get here? Like, I want to be really successful, you guys, in my career. I want to have abundance of, wealth and health. That's literally my goal in my life. And there's so many messages. I think that we're very spiritual people, first of all. Okay, we are very, very spiritual people, and I think that we forget that we are spiritual people, or we are not educated, because we are conditioned, because there's things like religion, like politics, like, you know what I mean, that kind of control us, and we kind of just follow, which is okay, because it creates order and blah 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 and all these things. But we lose our connections with ourselves. You know what I mean? Because we are actually very spiritual people. Like, I believe that we are like the gods of ourselves. Because if you really listen to yourself and you hone and you like learn to hone yourself and your own voice, we are our own worst enemies and own worst critics. Like, the only person and the only thing stopping you from doing whatever that you want is you. Okay? And it's so crazy. Okay, so I hear myself talking to myself, how am I going to get here? How am I going to be successful? How am I going to be abundant in wealth and success? And my intuition tells me so many things, you guys, of the things that I can do. And then my I sabotage myself, which is me, okay, will be like, okay, what are people gonna think about that? Oh, I don't like that, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many excuses in there. But the thing is, you guys, we are our own worst critics. So it's really just listening to what yourself, and it's literally there. The abundance is there. You just have to hear it, and you just have to make the move to change, because everybody wants change, okay? Everybody wants a better life, obviously, but it's not easy, okay? Because there's so many factors, the insecurities, you know what I mean? The compareness to other people, like, just like, you know, like, the one thing is you have to believe in yourself, okay? And that's not an easy thing, to believe that you can and to believe that you will. And that's a really, really hard thing to overcome, because even me, I struggle with it sometimes. But the answers are so clear. But again, it's not going to happen overnight, you know? And I think just giving yourself time and not putting so much pressure for yourself, and just loving yourself, taking the time to love yourself, listen to yourself, and because you know what you need, okay? You really know what you need. Again, as long as your intentions are there, girl, like, you're good, okay? You're fabulous, honey. You can be what you want. And the only person stopping you is yourself, okay? And that's really my message is here. Like, that's what I want to present for this message. Like, we are our own worst critics, you guys. Like, we have it within us to change, to make the change. We just have to take the little steps each day and not put so much pressure on ourselves. But as long as the move is there, as long as the intentions are there, you know, each day to make these changes, and really appreciating where you came from and where you are in the moment, and just having gratitude, you know, and I feel like over time, it'll just accumulate into something bigger and better than what you become. And then all of a sudden, one day, you're gonna say, like, even now, for a year ago, I'm like, oh my god, like, this is the person I wanted to become. Like, even me, like, I was like so emotional about where I am now, even though I'm not where I want to be exactly. But I was so emotional because I couldn't believe the things and the changes that I've overcome, the changes that I've made for myself, because I chose me. Okay, so at the end of the day, you have to choose you and what's best for you, because no one else is gonna know what that is but you. So anyway, I really just wanted to share that and my 1 year, and I really wanted to celebrate my 1 year with a episode, and like, really just sharing what I've learned and sharing what I've seen and what I've overcame, and this is that. And I'm gonna end it there, you guys, for this episode. And if you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up, hit that follow button, okay? Subscribe to the tribe, okay? And just follow me, and let's grow together, you guys. And yeah, let's do life, babe, because you got this, we got this. Anyway, thank you guys so much again, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.